Nope. There we go. What's going on, guys? So, today I want to make a video that I think will be really helpful for you. So, not only recently, but I mean, throughout my whole life and yours as well, you probably noticed that people like to put labels on things, right? So, like, it's something that we do as humans, like, pretty commonly. And I don't know if it's been ingrained in us from other people or what it is, but we want to know what something is, right? So basically we need a name for it, right? And that's good sometimes, right? Like, that's an apple, that's an orange, easy, right? But sometimes, there's certain things that, especially when it comes to health, right? Health or mentality, like your mindset, like your brain, the way it works, people always feel the need to have a label for something, right? Like, for example, depression, ADHD. There's plenty more where that came from. But instead of worrying about those things, because for a long time we lived as humans in the world without those things. And people succeeded no matter what. With those things, without those things. So I'm making this video just to challenge you, right? Just consider this like a friendly challenge. I know we don't know each other, but I'm doing this with good intention, right? What I've noticed listening to a lot of people talk about these sorts of things, right, is oftentimes health, for example, just let's talk about those things first, right? Like, certain conditions you can succeed and excel no matter what. You just have to figure out how to do it your way, right? I mean, yes, you can take things from other people and learn from them and figure out what works for you, right? Kind of come up with your own method based on what you've learned from others. There's always a way to do it, though, right? So, I mean, I'm a very positive person, and so truthfully, I don't really empathize much with someone who's like a super downer. They think they can't. Because truthfully, man, like, if you think you can't, you're right. And if you think you can, you're also right. So it's all about your mindset. Like, really, we're the only ones limiting ourselves or holding ourselves back. So, let's say, like, you think you can't do something because you have ADHD or depression or something, but a lot of other people have. It's actually really arrogant for you to think that you're special because you have it, and all these other people who had the same thing as you were able to be really successful, and you can't, right? That's not the way it works. And at the same time, oftentimes there's certain things, like, I know this is like a really, really like hot button topic that people don't like, but like depression, for example, I think especially in the States and amongst the healthcare system, they like to, again, right? They like to diagnose things, have a name for everything, and sometimes it's not even correct, like a correct diagnosis. So before you even think about that sort of thing, like, I've heard this before, and it's a little bit, brutal, but again, right, this has good intention, and it's to help you, right? So just as a friendly challenge, like, I've heard this from other people. Like, for example, of course you're depressed. You're unhealthy, right? Like, your eating habits are bad. You don't drink enough water. All you do is drink soda, bad food. You don't go to the gym, right? You don't read books. You are constantly consumed by the news and social media and, hanging out with crap people, basically, right? Like, drinking, smoking, going to the bar, the club all the time. People who constantly engage in um, bad habits, right? Not like they're delaying gratification for really amazing lives, you know? So I just, I'm creating this video to encourage you to actually think outside the box and realize like there's probably a lot of things you can do to work around something that you may have, and then also maybe a lot of things you can do to just remedy a situation. Like you know, maybe like you wouldn't, again, right? Like there's a lot of people who wouldn't be depressed if they just took care of themselves, right? That they trusted their own word. They went to the gym every day. They did what they said that they were gonna do. Like they didn't break promises to themselves. I mean, like such a perfect example is like the amount of dad bods that come after getting the girlfriend or the marriage. And then interestingly, not always, but interestingly, divorce rates are pretty high. And maybe the guy isn't doing the same thing he used to do. Now, granted, it just takes two to tango here, right? So, you know, I would argue that it's likely both of their faults, right? But as a guy and the girl too, you both need to do everything you can to nurture, support each other, maintain a healthy relationship, and grow together, right? So it should be a non-negotiable that you're both taking care of your health, you know, for your kids, for your grandkids, for yourself, right? And it's not just health, there's these other things, but health is the vehicle that allows you to accomplish everything else in your life, right? So all I'm saying is to drop the labels and focus on what you can control to be the healthiest version of yourself. And another thing, it's related to this. You know, recently I met someone who, it's funny, they were trying to help me. They were talking about the Myers-Briggs test. And for example, like what sort of jobs are best for my personality type. And honestly, I took the test like 3 or 4 times and got slightly different results each time. So again, like I think there's a scale, right? For example, it's not like you're an introvert or an extrovert. You're in between somewhere, and maybe some days you're more one than the other. And with this, the Myers-Briggs stuff, you know, it seeks to categorize you. And the guy I was talking to really, really like loves that. It almost seems like to a point where like he feels like he needs it in order to understand. I mean, I think that's a great, great perspective. Is like to understand how he works best, right? So for like different environments, different jobs, different relationships, like he knows how to navigate his particular mindset. Granted, I think that's a little bit overboard because again, it's a sliding scale. Like you're not just this one thing. Like if you want to go that route and limit yourself and box yourself in, you can. But I truthfully just don't believe in that. You know, I think, you know, we're always able to grow, and there's a lot of things that are within our control to learn, become a better version. And just thinking like, oh, I'm a INFJ, so I need to work this way. Like that's the only way it's gonna work for me. Like I think that's kind of a load of garbage. To be real with you, it's just like limiting yourself. Like, oh, like this is how things work because I'm an INFJ. It's like I don't know. I personally don't agree with it, and I think you would also do well. Like it's not going to serve you to limit yourself. That might be the best note to end this video on. So no matter what happens, like someone's trying to label something, box you in, right? Put a name on something. Just always like question whether or not that's actually a good idea, and whether you actually can grow, learn, be more than that. Because you can. You got this, bro.